Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this week what I thought I'd do was record my running sessions and basically just show you what I do. Let's get into the week. So I'm going to start off by saying this was the most amount of miles I've ever run in a week. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I run this much every single week. That's not been the case. I've been running a lot less than this. I don't do this all the time. It's taken me years to build up to this now, okay? So before I show you anything into the week, I'm just going to show you quickly my warm-up and cool-down routine. Easiest way for me to say this is I run to not get injured, okay? Earlier in my running career, I would always run too much. I'd run too much first of all, and I'd also run way too fast. In recent years, I finally understand, you know, like running slower and like taking a freaking break, you know what I mean? As you may know in some of my older videos, I got really badly injured last year. I had something wrong with my lower back, which was completely affecting my running. Couldn't run properly for months. So I just start off with slight movement on my calves, really easy. Then I go into, I don't know, I think this is a quad stretch, I don't know really. I kind of keep it really fast, like I only hold it for like 5 seconds. Then I go into this hamstring stretch. Then I go back out of it and I go back into this calf stretch. After that, then I go into a glute stretch, a pigeon stretch, I think it's called, I don't know. Come back out of it again, go back into the calf stretch. Everything goes back into the calf stretch. Then I go into the world's greatest stretch, and then that's that part done. Next, after that, I go into a bit of band work, I think it's called. I do this little shuffle thing first. The last one I do is called the crab, I think, in a way. It looks funny, but this is how I begin every single run. So that's all kind of static stretching. And then when I go downstairs, I go into my dynamic stretching. Every time I used to run, my first mile would be awful. It would be a workout trying to get into the run. So I do this now to make sure, first of all, I don't get injured, and second of all, so like when I go into my run, I go into my run nice and quickly, bang, we're into the run. We're not struggling, and it doesn't matter if it's a 35-minute run, a 90-minute run, a session. I do this before every single run. Just gonna get that out of the way that I do this before every single run. Anyway, let's get into it. Starting off with Monday, we started off with a nice 7.8 mile run. As you can see, like that's a really random mile to end on. I run in time, so this was an hour-long run. I know it's pretty old school, but it works for me. I really enjoy it. Just putting it out there. Heart rate, I don't care about heart rate. I know it's like the craze now to always keep an eye on your heart rate. I don't do that. I kept it around the 7:40 minute miling. For me, that would be just around an easy pace, okay? Any like lower than 7:40, that would not be an easy pace. I'd be more into a steady pace. As I've said, I run to not get injured, okay? Only 2 of my sessions are done quick, okay? Every other one is done at an easy pace. Since I do the warm-up, I feel like I actually go out a bit too hard. Like my first miling here is 7:33. It's a bit too fast going out. Preferably you'd want to start at like, I don't know, 8-minute miling, 7:50-minute miling. Jumping straight to 7:33 just means I just went off too quick. I just ran how I felt, okay? I felt good that day, and that was an easy pace. If you want to look at heart rate, then fair enough, it was around 169. I don't know if that's good or bad, okay? I don't know. That's why I don't keep an eye on it. But yeah, that was Monday. Now we're moving into a bit of the track. So again, we start off with a nice warm-up. It was boiling that day, all right? It was so hot. Then I went into a 15-minute warm-up jog. This is probably the worst part of the session because it is so freaking boring. You're running around a track really slowly. It's the worst part of the session, honestly. And afterwards, the cool down is also terrible. The track is about 20 to 25 minutes away. That's the only downside to my track sessions, is that I actually have to cycle to get there. After the warm up, then I throw on my Vaporflies. Beautiful runners, by the way. Oh my God, this changed my life. So the session was 4 800s and then into 4 400s. So I kept this really controlled. I like to control my sessions. I don't like to go out and like give it everything. Only twice in the week do I go out and really run, you know? But I never ever go full out, ever. The only time I ever go full out is racing. Besides that, you're asking for trouble going full out because it's just going to lead to injury. The first few 800s, pretty nice. The first one's a bit too fast. 2:43. I like to keep it around 2:45. I did that in the second one. Third one's also really good. The fourth one is also really good. That is really controlled, okay? Usually I start off way too quick. I do like a 2:40, and then in the middle it would be all over the place. Then the last one would just be like a 2:50. This is probably one of the best sessions I've ever done. Probably because I knew the camera was going to be on me. And then we fly into the 4 400s. I usually keep this around 120. Again, I did this perfectly. 119, 120, and then the last two got a bit quicker, but that's okay. I finished strong, finished with a 117, and then I finished with another 117. All in all, that was around 28 minutes, 4.3 miles. That was such a good session, okay? And I was cooking the entire time. Moving into Wednesday, it was another scorcher, man. We did a 70-minute run. This was definitely a lot more relaxed. This wasn't a 740-minute pace. Usually the day after track sessions, my legs are definitely a bit more tired, so I keep this really slow. I kept this around 8-minute pace. Again, really controlled runs, and that's the main thing, is controlling yourself. The fastest mile I did was the first one. Again, that's a mistake on my part. I really should be starting way slower. Another thing I like to say about the heart rate, there's a lot of factors that can affect your heart rate, you know? I see a lot of people always talking about it and being like, oh, it's so important. It probably is important, but there's just so many factors. I mean, having a cup of coffee before a run can make a huge difference to your heart rate. The weather, heat, rain, all of that can make a huge difference. So that's why I don't really look at it as much. Yeah, so let's move into Thursday. This week, it was boiling. It was really freaking hot. You're going to see in the videos now. So we're back down to an hour again. I picked up the pace. As you can see, it's now average pace was 7:48. It's a bit faster, but it's also because my legs have somewhat recovered from the session. Again, we did our warm-up and we did our cool down. I did slow down in this mile. I started off with a 7:50-minute pacing, then kept it really controlled. This is the best part about being a runner, when you can do this, when you can keep your average paces really close together. 7:51, 7:48, 7:47, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What's that, 4 or 5 seconds between each other? Brilliant. Mile 4 is shit. I don't know why I went into a 7:33. I mean, that's nearly 20 seconds gone off that mile. Stupidity. When you're not controlled, that's what leads to injuries. And as I've said before, being not injured is the most important part of this. Running is a really injury prone sport, okay? Everyone is going to get injured in running, but that's why I'm trying to freaking not. I used to get injured probably every 5 months, okay? I'm just trying not to do a lot, okay? So yeah, that was it. That was a good run. Let's move on to Friday. Friday is a very easy run. If you want to break it down, there's like easy runs, steady runs, fast runs. This would be super easy. I only did 35 minutes, 8:30 miling. Heart rate 148, way lower than all the rest. Usually I don't do any running on a Friday. I usually take Friday off, but this time, since I'm building up to a race, by the way, this time he made me run on the Friday. Quick look at the stats. 8:30. Look at this. Look at this. 8:30, 8:30, 8:26, 8:27. Fastest mile was 8:17. Now let's move on to Saturday, which is my second session of the week. For this session, I did 5x5. So what is 5x5? 5x5 is 5 minutes hard 5 times. That's about it. 5 minutes hard, 90-second break. 5 minutes hard, 90-second break 5 times. It sounds worse than it is, okay? It's not the worst thing ever. I do this around a rowing center because this is the flattest ground I could find, okay? Did a 15-minute warm-up, 15-minute cool down, and then the 5x5. Let's just look at the laps. First one, 6:05 pace. It might have been a bit too quick, okay? Next one, surprisingly, was actually faster with a 5:58. Again, looking back right now, I know it's too quick. It's just too quick. As I've said, people, I want to keep it controlled. I'm very strict on myself when it comes to running, okay? That looks good. The fourth one is not good. I got a stitch in my fourth 5-minute block and it pushed up to 6:10. That is a big difference between 5:58, okay? It's an okay difference between 6:05, but if I'm running 5:58, you want to fucking keep it close to 5:58. 6:10 is not close to 5:58, okay? I know this is really critical. Small margins, all right? It's the small things that'll get you far. And when I look back at that does piss me off, because it's like you're asking for an injury. I know it's small, but eventually it'll come back and bite you in the ass, okay? Last one then finished off really well, 5:58. Finished strong. All in all, 31 minutes. Good. It's just a small bit of annoyance because of that. But all in all, really good session. And now we are going to move on to the final session of the week, the Sunday long run. 90 minutes. 90 full minutes, close to 12 miles, 7:43 minute miling. It's a slight bit too quick, slightly too quick. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm just running to not get injured. I'm running to stay fit and consistent. This run, once again, boiling hot, so freaking humid. I ran into the Bos, which is a forest in Amsterdam. I ran in there because I knew I'd be able to get a load of shade. First mile, 8-minute pacing. That is perfect. But what is this? Second mile, 7:33. That's 30 seconds shaved off a mile. Simple as this, it's not good enough. That crap won't work. That's a habit, okay? That's a habit that's going to continue to happen, and eventually it'll come back and bite me in the ass. The maximum I would have gone down is like 15 seconds. 30 seconds, no, not good enough. Next mile, 7:44. It's better. 7:49. Perfect. That's exactly where I wanted to keep it. Fifth mile, 7:46. Brilliant. 7:50. Outstanding, man. 7:38. Too quick. Just a bit too quick. 7:47. Much better. Ninth mile, 7:34. That's really hard to take. That's really hard to take. It's just too fast. It's just too fast. 7:38. Again, too quick. But look, it's what it is. We were nearly done this run. And then to top it off at 7:40. Nice. Nice. Now there's one thing I have to do, which is add up all my miles, which I didn't do like a tit. Let's get the old calculator up, shall we? Ends up at 56.2 miles. I also did a few strides that I needed to add on, so realistically it adds up to around 57 miles, okay? That is a big week. That is a big week for me. It was a fantastic week, mostly because I stayed injury free. And that's always something I'm really terrified of, is that I'm going to push myself too hard and then bang, you're injured. Every runner knows this. If you get injured in running, God almighty, it's a long way back. It's a long way back, man. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my week. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, really hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe. Have a good day. Goodbye.